been online for a bit, chatting to some people. Spoke to some vegans. Man, this vegan shit, it's perplexing to me. I always enjoyed getting in debates and arguments and just discussions with vegans, non-vegans. I've agreed with and disagreed with people, individuals on both sides of the argument, and I have my own viewpoint and standpoint on what this all means for humanity. But like, one thing I can't get over, man, is just like, it's hard when you find people trying to reason and they think because they have reason that they're intelligent. It's like conflating your ability to reason with the actual critical thinking skills it requires to actually be called or label yourself or see yourself as intelligent. Intelligent is not always, the information, the intel which you receive. Intelligence, right, means the application of intelligence. Intel, taking the knowledge, applied knowledge, right? Applied philosophy, right? So a lot of the vegans that you meet, they tend to be young, they tend to be very impressionable, and they tend to not really have formed an identity in their lives, and they latch on. It's the same with many young people who follow other things, right? A lot of people, they look up to like bodybuilders on Instagram on PEDs and steroids and shit. And like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about that at this point, because when people start talking about this, right, this is why I see social the reason why social media don't really want you to talk about this kind of stuff, right, is because, one second, I had to deal with that itchy nostril. The reason why social media don't really like you to talk about, veganism being bad, or bodybuilders taking PEDs, or women who are beautiful mostly being like enhanced and actually taking steroids and stuff as well. Um, the reason they don't want you to talk about that on their platforms is because if that goes viral, if someone actually starts to make sense, someone displays that you could be healthy, you could be, have a good quality of life, good standard of living, and at the same time have longevity and live a long life, right? And do things the right way instead of cheating, or you don't have to lose 10 kilos of weight in like 2 weeks. That's called starvation, and actually weight loss in a healthy way occurs over a much longer period of time. If you start telling people stuff like this, well, what happens is the social media company, whatever platform, is gonna have is they're gonna have their user base, their creators and their viewers, mostly, and this includes you and me, right? Mostly are looking for short-term gratification. They're not looking for, oh, here's your life plan. This is how to plan your life. Or this is how to be good in the long term. Or this is how to be a good person. This is how to make the world a great place. They're looking for, this is how you get abs, you know? This is how you build big muscle and get big arms. Or this is how you get beautiful and more men will look at you, right? Or this is how you do your makeup, or right? Or this is how you're supposed to eat. Don't eat meat. This is a trend now. You're not cool if you eat meat. You didn't know, right? So as soon as you start talking about like, or anything against the current consensus, so you start talking about your views against uh, LGBTQ, for example, right? I'm pro LGBT. I think people should have all kinds of rights, right? But like, I also believe that people should have the right to say what they want about those rights. That's an even more important. That's the most fundamental right. Okay, so like, you have to appreciate that. Number one, when people come up and they start talking about things for what they are, they're not gonna get many views. They're not gonna get that many subscribers and stuff like that. Okay, because the algorithms, right, the computer, the robots, right, that put people on display or hide them away, in my case, most likely will be the case, is but I'm doing it anyway because there's people who can value what I have to present and offer, and I meet a lot of people online and offline that want to hear what I have to say. And I don't like repeating myself again and again and again to people. So I make these videos for you. And I make these videos not with the intention of blowing up and getting like 10 million subscribers and living my life in luxury and being a digital nomad and going traveling the world, although that would be cool. So like and subscribe. But I make these videos as an outlet for expression because it's hard now. It's hard to find people out there to relate to. It's hard to find even a student to teach something, right? Because there is no one to relate to. There's really no intellectual groups that I can join that are gonna be on the level, right? So and if they are, it's like little bits and bobs, and those groups, they get infiltrated by non-intellectuals, who charlatans who pretend to be intellectuals, and they come in and they start, and that's what a lot of these guys in vegan servers on Discord, for example, I used to go on there to debate with them, and they kicked me out. They're like, even in a respectful, debate, like they get angry. People just get mad because their ideals and beliefs, their belief system it doesn't really have a foundation in science and like reality and empirical evidence. It's just like, usually it's just propaganda that's fed to them. They lap it all up. And so and a lot of people, they get hurt even before they ask you questions to challenge you, and they get hurt before you even like answer the question because they're upset that you have so much confidence and conviction in what you're saying, and you're going against everything that appears to be true to them because they're reasoning. They come up with some reason why it's true. They didn't come up with the actual, you know how can I say, like basically they watched some shit on TV or YouTube and they're like, that's true. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done a lot of that in my health journey. I've gone on YouTube and been like, but the difference is, some of us are able to discern of quality information, what's likely to be true. And this is important because it's about discerning. It's about discernment. It's not about the information which you're presented anymore. It's not, because the information's everywhere. The information's always been everywhere. And the information that you have out there has never really been complete. It's always been fragmented, and it's always been adapted, and it's always been developed, and there's always new information, and sometimes old information is crushed and replaced by new ways of doing things and new intel, right? And so things are liable to change, and it takes discernment. It takes some kind of discretion in what information you allow to stick, right? And your ability to look through various subjects and topics and the things that you study, and the knowledge that you have and the experiences you have in life, and being able to correspond the experiences and what you've learned from one area, and then take that to another area of study, and you look at this new area of study and you're like, well, hold on a second, I learned this, and this from my old area of study. Why would I believe that this is true? Because now this breaks like all these other things that I've learned. And so do you see how that can be valuable in constructing mental models which can help you decide what's valuable knowledge and what's kind of like seems to be true but is only half true, or it seems to be true but it's what's that word, it's the zenith, right? The zenith at the time, it's the zenith of knowledge. It's something that appears valid at the time but is liable to change. Okay, so timing is everything, right? And these young people, they're told that eating meat's destroying the environment, red meat's destroying the environment, and it's destroying your blood, and it's kind of slightly insane, because it's like, well, do you think that if all this was true, that, it would have taken, all this. Okay, yeah, I know agriculture is intense and the global population's increasing and all that stuff, right? But is it really like, are people dropping dead in the street from heart attacks every day from a steak that they ate last week? And why is so much attention being put on veganism and like not eating meat and carbon emissions, when really, like, there's people out here literally burning sticks, right? A lot of you viewers, some of my friends watching this, you're burning things, right? You're actually actively burning chemicals, compounds that are changing, turning into toxins, inhaling that shit, right? And there's no like huge outcry saying, oh, we must stop all cigarette smoking immediately and make everyone switch to vapor products. Make everyone switch to non-combustible products immediately, because this is a health outcry, that we are having. This is a epidemic. Yeah, epidemic. This is a crisis. This is extremely bad for human health. It's extremely bad for the world as a whole, and it's bad for economic development. Like anything that affects human health affects human capital. Human capital is the resource which creates productivity, generates productivity is good for the economy. It's economic growth. Economic growth means that you and I have a better quality and standard of living. Mainly standard of living, not necessarily better quality, but standards of living improve for everyone when there's economic growth, right? So what we're talking about here is, you know, see, I always do this. I always go down the rabbit hole and I get stuck. But no edits. So I guess where I'm going with all of this is, you know, there's you have to be careful about what's trending. And usually what's trending is just complete bullshit, okay? Or it's only half true, right? So, like I'll give you an example, like the Black Lives Matter movement. Oh, what does this mean? Like, do Black Lives only matter now that we've got signed? No, Black Lives always, actually, is whether you believe that Black Lives matter, they've always mattered to the people that they matter to. And if you believe that Black Lives don't matter, they've never mattered, right? Right? Because nobody's life really matters, because we all we check in and check out anyway. The hotel doesn't give a shit about us once we're gone. No one matters, bro. It's checkout time for most of us in the next 50, 60 years. So within that time frame. So what I'm saying is, like, all these movements, right? LGBTQ rights. These people have always had rights, right? Or either they've always had rights or they've never had rights. None of us have ever had rights. We impose rights on ourselves. We take that from society. We decide that we have rights. We give each other rights. Rights. They're written rights. They're not real rights. When the whole fucking infrastructure breaks down, no one's got rights. And that's where we're heading to with all this pedantic bullshit where you're nitpicking and virtue signaling and all this madness is leading to inequality, all the inequality that you wish didn't exist and that you want to fight against. You're perpetuating it by making stupid decisions, right? To follow all these trends and all this dumb shit, when you need to go back to basics. You need to look in the mirror and say, I'm a human being. What do I need? I need sustenance. I need nutrition. I need peace and quiet. I need an environment that doesn't stress me out. If you haven't ticked them boxes yet, if you ain't even sleeping right, if you ain't eating right, shitting right, or walking and getting sunshine, you're not even in the game. You don't even have in my mind, you don't even have the right to fucking speak. You shouldn't even have the right to receive this information that I'm giving you. You should be out there looking in the fucking mirror saying, you know what? I'm probably deficient in something, you know? That should be your only concern, but most of you young dumb motherfuckers out here busy seeking some kind of identity that's not yours. And the more you focus on the identity of veganism or the identity of fucking being a fucking furry pussycat or whatever the fuck you identify as, or whatever gender you identify as, or whatever animal entity you identify, I don't know what you identify as. What I'm saying is, if you don't understand that that is a trap, then you can't actually process when you meet someone like me in the street, and I start rapping to you about, oh, you can have a better life if you actually eat some food and go to sleep. You think I'm trying to steal from you. You think I'm trying to sell you something, or you go flat out into denial, or you'll even agree with me because your brain's saying, oh, this guy, like, he's making a lot of sense. You'll agree with me and you'll say, yeah, you're right. These things need to change. And you'll walk away and go to the nearest fucking ice cream stall or fucking cookie biscuit packet. This, whatever the nearest sugary fucking snack. And, yeah, but you only live once. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, until you've got your shit together, you ain't really shit. I'm going to put it down to you like that. And because, so for me, when people ask me and they say, oh, you look younger, oh, you got good skin, they say, how old are you? I say, well, I don't really know. Because most of my life, I didn't even consider myself like an active human being. I was just like a walking zombie, with joint problems, with chest problems, anxiety, mental health issues, skin problems, psoriasis, leaky gut, all kinds of shit. IBS, all of it. And you ask me, you say someone like, oh, you can't look at someone like that and ask them philosophical questions or talk to them on any level about their viewpoints on society, because they're fucked up. They ain't got their shit right yet. And most of you can't get your shit together because you don't know how. Or you don't have the time. Or you don't have the resources, the money. And so, when you realize those things, that you can't have the time, you can't have the information, and you can't have the money, then you're supposed to be angry. You're supposed to wake up and be like, well, hold on a second. I've been fleeced. Why am I out here participating in, as human capital, slaving my motherfucking joints away, lifting packages, delivering packages, whatever the fuck you do, handing over coffee, selling specs to fucking old people, whatever the fuck you do, sitting in an office, handing out prescriptions, whatever you do, whatever your activity to make your daily bread is, or you can buy with it, is bread. You can't buy nutrient-dense foods with that shit and live on it and sustain a family on it. So when you realize that, first it's got to take knowledge for you to understand it. Then it's the time to even get the knowledge comes first, to understand it. Then you have to quit that whole denial process and the addiction to all the shit foods that you eat to snap out of it and stop being a zombie. So there's all these walls and barriers to the truth. The truth's on the other side of that wall. You can't see it, right? And if you peek through that little door fucking keyhole there or through the window, you might get a glimpse, but it's so dark on the other side of that wall, right? The truth is, it's all light. It's all real. It's all truth, right? Because the light's in you. But you're just gonna, when you peek through the window, you're just gonna see darkness, and you're gonna, when something upsets your worldview and you just can't believe it. Like, for me, this is my reality. I live in a world which is completely stupid and fucked up, and the people in it are like completely, like, barely even reaching their human sustenance. They're barely even feeding themselves, let alone reaching their full potential. How the fuck are you going to talk about reaching your full potential and all this and all that when you ain't even feeding yourself? You're busy looking at athletes who are fucking dying suddenly when they're 40, when they're 35. And that's not a red flag to you? It's not a red flag to you that marathon runners, sprinters, bodybuilders, they're all fucking dying at 40, 45, 35. That's not a red flag to you? And you look up to them people and you say, I can achieve. they can achieve. John down the fucking street blew up and became a UFC fighter. Anyone could do it. And you think that these athletes like that are out there, like that Novo Norda fucking whatever the fuck his name is, that tennis player who's a vegan, who pushes that vegan diet out to people. And someone asked me this morning, he said, what about him? Isn't he like, he's really old and he's been doing this vegan shit? Well, look, I don't know the specifics of that. We can get into that, right? In fact, I'm going to check that shit right now. So this is what I mean. I just checked it, right? And this motherfucker who's telling me that the Novo guy is vegan, he's wrong. Like, these guys push whatever misinformation they can to shove that virtue signaling bullshit down your throat. They want you to fucking choke on it, okay? Novak Jinovic, however you say it, I think he's Serbian, that sounds like a Serbian name, has followed a plant-based diet since at least 2015. That's just short of a decade, right? The guy's gonna... Alright, so firstly, that's not vegan, that's plant-based. Motherfucker probably still eats meat, okay? Okay? So, check this out. He avoids animal products, that's interesting, but does not label himself as vegan due to potential misinterpretations of the term. That's interesting. What misinterpretations would there be? I'm curious. So he opened a vegan restaurant. Okay, nobody cares. His dietary choices are part of a gluten and dairy-free regimen. Okay, gluten-free, brilliant. Dairy-free, not so brilliant, okay, because there's nuances there, okay? I eat a lot of cheese. I do well on cheese, okay? Gluten, absolutely not. No, gluten's bad. So you got that bit right? So, some guy's just gone out there and said this guy's vegan. This guy's only been vegan for 10 years, okay? And they're saying, oh, he's been one of the best athletes in the world for tennis, da-da-da-da-da. Only for most of his life when he wasn't eating meat, right? And now, I'm sorry, when he was eating animal-based products, and now he's on plant-based products. It takes time. Anyone who's studied veganism and plant-based diets knows that it takes a number of years to build up that deterioration. Sorry, to deteriorate, not build up. You're not building anything. You deteriorate. Your body starts leaching your bones, actually, for proteins, for essential minerals, which are unavailable, just to compensate. Right, and all the inflammation starts catching up. So it's a long-term deterioration, and it's very deleterious how it happens. It's insidious. It happens slowly. It compromises your whole health, your vitality. So that's what we're talking about here, guys. In the short term, veganism, you might feel better because you're off of the processed meat and you're not eating the stuff. But look, check this out. I'm just going to say it to you like this, okay? There's misinformation out there, all right? I'm going to go back to kind of what I was saying earlier. This video is getting long enough already. There's misinformation out there. The information that I'm able to receive is only as good as my ability to figure out what parts of that information are, reasonable and like fit in with the rest of the information that, not only seems to be true, but you can live. When you start living the facts, not just understanding the facts and internalizing the fact, when you start living it, okay, and then someone comes with some information to you that seems like it could logically be true, there's fallacies in it when it doesn't fit into your, it doesn't make sense ultimately. Like this stuff about this Novo guy. This guy said to me, oh yeah, but there's athletes out there. Dude, bro's been probably playing tennis since he was like 6 years old or something. They've got the muscle memory. My guy's all plant-based now. Guess what? I'll be the first to say it, and I'm going to call out hundreds of athletes and hundreds of celebrities and stuff like that. They're not operating at their potential. They're on poopy pants levels, okay? And it is what it is. There's nothing I can do to convince you of otherwise. So yeah, guys, video's gone on long enough. 25 minutes is good enough for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I got myself a little rant in there, and I really kind of need to pee and start my day, my morning routines, which I'm going to post soon on here. My first morning my supplement stack for the morning, I have like 2. So I'll be doing my first morning supplement stack, which I'm going to do now, and then my second morning supplement stack, which is a few hours later. And we're going to get into that and why I do that. And guys, look, whatever you do, before you decide to stop eating meat, go vegan or go on a plant-based diet, take some time out, have some patience, start busting some comments in the comments box, and I will make videos for you to talk to you about why that's probably a very suboptimal decision, and that you should, consider the long-term effects of what you're doing and understand the science behind it and real life experiences of people who have done that and regretted it. And it takes courage to come public and say, look, I damaged my health from eating meat. From going plant-based and vegan. And so, there's tons of people out there. There's also a lot of information out there about how meat can disrupt your health. And meat can absolutely damage your health if you choose bad quality meat and eat the wrong meats and eat it and prepare the food the wrong way with loads of sticky carbs on it. It's going to damage your health, whether that meat's organic and grass-fed or not, right? So there's so many things that we need to talk about. There's a lot of knowledge, which I consider myself to be an expert in this field, or almost reaching that. I will, by the time I've reached middle age, be an expert in this field. So, but relative to other people who are talking about this right now, I'm an expert in this field. So you could just I guess you have to know who to trust. And I'm going to give you so many reasons to trust me, because the way that I tell you stuff, we're not just going to talk about the facts here. We're not just going to talk about my experience. I'm going to give you so many connectors, right? Because I'm a communicator. I can connect the dots, right? I'm going to connect the dots for you, and you can make your own mind up about everything. Please like and subscribe if you want to see that content. Goodbye.